Did it. I signed an LOI. I'm officially on my way to purchase my first business. So over the next few months, I'm going to take you through the entire process of buying a small business from LOI through due diligence, securing financing, negotiating, everything else that comes with acquiring a small business. So a little bit about myself. My name is Mike Stemke. My background is in finance, particularly in banking. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. Why I'm buying instead of starting a business? I've always wanted to be a business owner, have some of that entrepreneurial spirit, but I chose to buy one instead of start one because I wanted something that already has, positive cash flow, already has customers, already has all the systems in place. So that's what led me to this, and that's why I decided to buy versus build my own. So a little bit about why I'm documenting this. I've got three, I think, main reasons. The first one really is I just want to document this process for myself. I think it would be kind of cool at the end of it to look back at the entire process, whether it closes or not closes, to see what things can I learn for the next purchase, because I do plan on doing this more than once. So kind of like a lessons learned. Second reason, which is kind of tied to the first one a little bit, is you've got two kids, two little ones. I just think it would be kind of cool to one day show them like, hey, this is what your old man did to purchase his first business. So, hopefully they'd be proud of me. And the last thing I think is there's a lot of great information out there for potential small business buyers, but I'll say that I haven't found a lot of first-time buyers documenting it. I do feel like that's kind of missing a little bit. You've got a lot of gurus out there, a lot of people that provide great information that have been doing this for decades, but I feel like I don't see a lot of documentation on a first timer doing it. And I think that could be helpful to a lot of people. So how I found this business, what did my search look like? I have kind of been informally searching for about a year and a half. I kind of started thinking about this idea of buying a business back in early 2024. I started getting really serious about it in March of 2025. I hired an advisor to kind of help me screen through deals and even find deals for me. So it's been a process. This is now November, so 8 months of looking for deals. I looked through a lot of them. I'd say probably averaging 20 per day. You find out quickly that 80% of the deals are deals that you don't want anything to do with, and then the 20% are solid, and then you got to find the one that's the fit for you. So how I found the deal was basically looking through the sites. This one was on one called Website Closers, which is a brokerage firm that works for sellers to sell their businesses. The type of business we can get into as well is it's a non-emergency medical transportation company. So basically they provide transportation services for people who aren't able to transport themselves to medical appointments. For example, dialysis. So, they'll transport dialysis patients to their appointments and then bring them back to their home, and then typically reimbursed by the insurance. So they've got contracts with insurance brokers to provide these services. What attracted me to it is the fact that it's a vital service. You can say it's recession resilient. Some people like to use the term recession resistant. I don't think anything is actually fully resistant, but I think businesses can be resilient. And I think this is one of them. The other things that attracted me to it are obviously it's a profitable company. It's got good cash flow, strong margins on revenue. The company has been around for 11 years, so it's established. The owner has great relationships with the brokers that he works with. But at the same time, it's not overly reliant on the owner. The owner works 5 to 10 hours per week. He's got a manager in place. And that was something that was important to me. I'm looking to buy a business and not buy a job. And so that was a pretty important thing for me when looking for a business, was to find something that has got some systems established. At the same time, I think there's some low-hanging fruit there for me to go after to help improve the business, whether it's efficiencies or growing and expanding the business. So there's a lot of a lot of good opportunities there that I'll get into in future episodes. So what happens next? What's next on this journey? Like I mentioned, we'll jump into due diligence, start with informal and then formal due diligence. The three key components of that are legal, going through their contracts with the brokers, making sure there's no, legal liabilities that they're being held to, they're not being sued for anything. Financial, so going through the financial statements, probably get their account statements, their general ledger, make sure everything ties out. I'll hire an accounting firm to do something that's called a quality of earnings. Basically, they kind of deep dive and rip through all the financials and make sure everything ties out, and it gives you confidence that what they're telling you is actually true. And then operational due diligence, which is really the meat and bones of the due diligence, in my opinion. You're trying to peel back layers and layers to see what the operations are about, and how is the company making money? What are the systems in place that they have that have made them successful? Additionally, it'll be securing financing. I'm taking out SBA loan, Small Business Administration loan. The SBA will finance small business acquisitions as long as you put in at least 10% of equity. The advisory firm that I work with has great contacts with various SBA loan providers, and I've already been in contact with a few. And then, finally, once financing has been secured, it would be drafting the purchase agreement, which I'll have to hire an attorney for, but I'll likely hire an attorney well before that to help out with the legal due diligence. So to set expectations, really what I'm trying to do during this period is just, I want to make sure what's on paper matches what's happening in reality. Are they actually earning this amount of money? Do they actually have good relationships with their customers and with their brokers? That's really what I'm trying to get to. So throughout this process, I'll be releasing videos on various topics, going through the financials, going through legal due diligence, securing financing through a bank. These are all the topics I'll be going through, and hopefully it's helpful to some of you. I'll also go through overall the positives of the deal, the things I love about the deal as I go through the due diligence, as well as some of the risks and some of the red flags and some of the ones that maybe I'm okay with, and perhaps there's some that aren't, and I'll have to find a way to mitigate them. So I'll go through that as well. So just to reiterate my journey, this is episode 1 of the series of me purchasing a business. I just signed an LOI and I'm jumping into due diligence right after this. So if you're curious about entrepreneurship or curious about buying a small business for yourself, or just want to know what's going to happen, subscribe and follow along. I'm starting to dig into the financials already, and there's already a couple of things I see that I just did not expect.